The sun was shining on Seaside City. The sky was blue and clear. Birds sang in the trees. It was a perfect day for a walk on the beach. Families strolled along the sand. Children laughed as they built castles. Maya, a young girl with bright eyes, was collecting seashells with her father. "Look, Papa!" she called, holding up a pink and orange shell. "It's beautiful!" Her father smiled and patted her head. At the ice cream shop, people lined up for a sweet treat. Fishermen were returning to the harbor, their boats loaded with the day's catch. Life in Seaside City was peaceful and happy. No one knew what was about to happen. The ocean would soon show its power. The people of Seaside City were about to face the sea's fury. At precisely 11:03 in the morning, the ground began to shake. It was a small tremor at first, easily dismissed as a passing truck, but then it grew stronger, more insistent. Maya's father grabbed her hand. "It's an earthquake," he said, his voice urgent. "We need to get to higher ground." People stopped in their tracks, confused and frightened. The shaking intensified, rattling windows and causing buildings to sway. Out on the water, the fishermen felt the tremor through their boats. Something was wrong. Very wrong. And then, a sight that sent chills down their spines. The sea, which had been calm and inviting just moments before, began to recede. It pulled back from the shore like a giant creature taking a breath. The water level dropped dramatically, revealing the ocean floor far out into the distance. This was no ordinary tide. It was a warning. 1 minute passed. The air grew heavy, thick with tension. People pointed at the horizon, their faces etched with fear. A low rumble, like the sound of 1,000 trains, filled the air. 2 minutes. A white line appeared on the horizon. It was small at first, barely noticeable, but it grew rapidly, transforming into a towering wall of water. The tsunami was here. 3 minutes. The waves slammed into the shore with the force of 1,000 bombs. Buildings crumbled like sandcastles. Trees were uprooted and tossed aside like twigs. The roar of the water was deafening, swallowing up all other sounds. 4 minutes. The waves surged inland, engulfing everything in its path. Cars were swept away like toys. Boats were ripped from their moorings and tossed onto rooftops. People screamed and ran for their lives, but the water was relentless, chasing them through the streets. 5 minutes. Maya and her father clung desperately to a lamppost, the water swirling around them. She could see people being swept away, their faces contorted in terror. The world seemed to be ending. Seaside City, once so full of life, was now a churning sea. Landmarks that had stood for generations vanished beneath the waves. The bustling marketplace was now a debris-filled whirlpool. The smell of salt water mixed with the stench of destruction. The tsunami had reshaped the landscape. Where streets and sidewalks once stood, there was now only water and wreckage. The familiar outline of the city was gone, swallowed by the relentless surge. Time lost all meaning as the wave raged. Minutes stretched into an eternity of terror and chaos, but even in the face of unimaginable destruction, the human spirit flickered. As quickly as it had risen, the water began to recede. The once mighty wave, spent of its fury, retreated back into the sea, leaving behind a scene of utter devastation. The streets of Seaside City were now a muddy, debris-strewn wasteland. Survivors emerged from the wreckage dazed and traumatized. They coughed up seawater and stumbled over the rubble, searching for loved ones. The air was filled with the sound of weeping and the cries of those who had lost everything. Maya and her father, battered but alive, clung to each other. They had survived the tsunami's wrath. The road to recovery would be long and arduous, but amidst the ruins, there was hope. The spirit of Seaside City, though tested, was not broken. The tsunami had taken much, but it had also revealed the resilience of the human spirit. In the aftermath, strangers helped strangers. Stories of courage and compassion emerged from the wreckage. The people of Seaside City, united by tragedy, would rebuild their lives and their city. They had faced the sea's fury and emerged, forever changed, but not defeated.